I'm Bill.
And I'm Candace.
And
we're the Disruptors.
And you've disrupted me today to no end.
That's good. I mean, look at how much better of a person you are now.
Oh, I feel so much better, yeah.
You even look better.
Thank you, yeah. Yeah, it's very nice of you.
Geritol's doing a good job with you.
I'm waiting for the other shoe to fall. Do you have a
No
big
shoe.
one up there? It's
Nope, no shoe.
And I'm going to be gone?
No squishage.
No squishy today. Today we have...
Rhonda Nagard of Fat Dog Creatives, and I love you, Rhonda. I love you. Thank you so much for being on the show. Her business card is so much fun.
It really is.
We're going to talk today about kind of who you are and your why and all that fun stuff. Matter of fact, right here, it's a fun little dog here that says Fat Dog Creatives. If you don't know Rhonda, you should get to know her real quick. So she's an incredible, it's a design firm. Am I correct on that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah.
Graphic
They
design.
did our logo.
Yes.
Because if you would have done it, we would have really...
Yeah, I color outside the lines.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Way
You know.
outside the lines.
We could do artwork and it'd be
Oh, no,
abstract.
you couldn't. Yeah,
you
very
know.
abstract, yes.
You know, I can throw paint on stuff. I have painted walls and chucked paint at Chris a few times. Probably not what we're looking for here.
No. So we'll just jump back into the show and back to the subject.
So, Rhonda, tell us a little bit about you and how was Fat Dog Creative come to be?
Okay. Well, I started my career in the 90s, and I started learning HTML code. There were chat rooms back then, and you could do things with HTML code in the chat rooms, and I thought, oh, that's really cool. Somebody just made the text go blinky blink. How they do that? So I was curious. My degree is actually in communications. I only took one programming class, and that was the easy peasy one that all the teachers take. Sorry, teachers.
Yeah.
They're required to take it for their degree, and so was I. But it kind of fed that curiosity. Oh, look what I can do. Look what I can do. So I got my degree in communications, and I started as a general communication person.
Wow.
And I didn't know anything about print, but I knew something about web. And my mentor at the time said, fake it till you make it. I said, okay.
I'm not trying to do that.
And so I got my first job, and it was heavily print. And I was like, thankfully, the wonderful lady who was leaving the position I was filling was there for 2 weeks to walk me through it, and that was basically my intro to print work, right? Anyway, my career took off. I was doing lots of web work, learning print as I went along, and the more I started doing print, the more I loved it, the more I wanted to get away from the linear stuff of coding, and that my trajectory went from coding and linear stuff to the abstract and colorful world of graphic design.
Whoa.
When was the moment that you went, oh my gosh, this is my passion? Because if people could see you, it's a passion. It's not a job, right?
Yeah.
It's really, it's your love. It's your love language of really being highly creative and listening to what people say and what they're not saying.
Yeah.
Honestly, it became my passion early on because as soon as I built my first web page, I realized, oh, I need graphics for this. It's going to be boring if it's just text.
Right.
And so that's when I started dabbling in Photoshop. And then it was just so intriguing. It was like, oh, look how pretty that is. But, I could go back to when I was a kid and show you that I should have known all along I would be a graphic designer. And then I would have should have pursued that during college, but I had no idea what graphic design was. Nobody where I lived did. Well, that's not true. My best friend's mom worked at a newspaper office, but that was newspaper. That wasn't design.
No, heavens.
Right?
Right.
Because, I couldn't put two and two together. But I do remember going into the office and thinking that was really cool. I entered several art contests, drawing self-portraits and stuff when I was a kid, and got everything right except for my nose because I kept looking at a compact mirror. And so therefore I had a petunia nose every time.
Fun.
Petunia pig, by the way. Nobody got that?
Angry Birds. Here we go. Yeah.
So Yeah, it was a passion of mine early on. Now, when did I actually start listening to people? I would say that happened when I got to work with this wonderful man who's now passed on, but his name is Walter Brown. And he hired me at this construction company, and I called it heaven. I said, this is where I'm retiring. It was so wonderful. And he encouraged me, and he loved what I did. And he and I would talk about the projects that we were working on together. And that's when I really started listening. I think Walter taught me how to listen to people. And so, unfortunately, I was only at that company for 4 months because they then were acquired by a developer. So then Walter and I both had to go work for the developer, right?
Sure.
And that's when I wasn't the only designer. I was working with this other awesome designer. But he had his own way of working, and I had to figure out my way. And that's when I realized that listening was a skill that I had learned, and that I apparently was excelling at, because people started coming to me because I was friendly.
Sure.
I was reasonable, And sometimes I also just took direction.
Right.
Which some people just don't want to do, don't want to take direction. And I literally would do what they asked. But then after a while, I started realizing, okay, I'm doing what they ask. Is that really what they need? So then I started putting more thought into what I was doing. And so I might give them pushback, but it was gentle pushback and reasoning. So I can't pinpoint one moment in time which my passion developed, because, again, it was just there from the beginning. It was just being harnessed in different ways along my way.
Right.
I wish the people could see how excited she is in the studio. Good grief, she's really going to town here.
Well,
My
that's
goodness.
because that's
That's
what
more
happens.
excitement.
That's what
than
happens
you've
when you're
ever
talking
done.
about your passion. You're ignited.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
You're fiery, and I
Wow.
love it. And I think that there's a lot to be said when people don't know what they need, because people don't know. It's hard to ask the right questions if you don't even know what questions to ask. I mean, we see that in business all the time.
Right.
And so when people are saying, "But I just want something that looks clean and crisp," and you're like, "Okay, but you sell dirt equipment."
Yeah,
What does that look
but also
like?
people have different definitions of
Yes.
what those adjectives mean. So they might say clean and crisp, and to me that means, white background, sharp edges.
Right.
That might not mean anything to them.
Sure.
I think clean and crisp. I think, mid-century modern, straight lines.
Right.
That might not be what they mean.
Right. It is just, I think it's really fascinating, because when I think of design work, I think of a completely undiscovered world. And each project is that undiscovered, and I'm often thinking, and I tell clients even, go into the undiscovered. You have to go into yourself, a lot of times. You have to go in, what are you creating? What are you really wanting? And
What are you doing? Yeah.
creative, when you don't know for sure, it takes people time to breathe, clarity, for them to get really clear as to, okay, because design is more than just a logo. It's a feel, and it's a texture, and so I love the creative aspect, of what design can bring to the table, and the value. And do you find that sometimes working with people that they don't understand the value of a designer?
Oh.
Okay, obviously,
Say,
yes.
almost daily.
You opened up the door on that
I
one.
did,
Yeah.
I did.
But frankly, if they don't understand the value of the design, they're not my client.
Right.
They're not any designer's client, at least not somebody who's charging,
Sure.
But it's, you said something about,
Well, here we go.
yeah,
We're
there
thinking
goes,
now. Rhonda,
it's so funny.
ladies and
I
gentlemen,
just
is
got a
thinking.
blank page, but that's exactly where I was going, was with the blank page.
Yeah.
You talked about, it's so beautiful, but you know what, something can be beautiful and be completely ineffective. And in fact, I coached somebody through, she wanted to work with me, but she couldn't afford it, and that was
Sure.
fine. And I told her, I'll work with you on a consultation basis. And she was totally fine with that. So she sent me some of the logos that somebody had redone for her. And there was one that was absolutely beautiful. I said, you know what? It's gorgeous. You should buy it, but that really shouldn't be your main logo, because it had such fine lines that when you reduce it down to the small spaces that we have on social media, the little bitty
squares.
Yeah, it's little bitty on your phone even, you know. I said, it's going to get lost. So I said, you need to choose the one that was filled in, because it would be visible on a small scale. And, that's what we do. We have to coach people through that. Now, did she listen to me ultimately? No. But now she knows. So if it's ineffective,
she's going back and redoing it 6 months later.
Right, and she did. I told her it is a gorgeous logo, but you really have to keep your mission in mind, which is visibility.
Absolutely.
Now, do you find that some of, pardon me for
Go ahead.
interrupting, but do you find that some of them, when they get the file done and they think, okay, I'm going to go over and I'm going to put it on like Facebook or something like that, or some of the other websites that say you have to have it like 450 by 1300 or whatever, that a lot of people don't understand that pixelates and the whole thing gets fuzzy.
Oh yeah, so you have to have it scaled to the right proportions for whatever you're using it for, and if you have it designed. If you're using a file that is just designed for your Facebook profile image, for example, that's a square, well, they're turning it into a circle, but it's relatively small. You cannot upscale that, meaning you cannot make it bigger, enlarge it without compromising the integrity of it. It's going to, what we call pixelate. You might have heard that word before. And if it's a already compressed JPEG, which you want for the web, you're going to see those compression it looks like murkiness around the
Just
design.
kind of fuzziness around the...
You're going to see more of that when it gets pixelated too. So it's just going to become an awful mess if you try to upsize something.
No. Well, tell us about the dog.
Yeah,
Talk to us about the dog.
She's been staring at the
Tell
dog.
us the story about the dog.
Okay, I do currently have a fat dog. He's a golden retriever. But that is not where this one came from.
Okay.
I was designing this. This was going to be my company, my first thing that was all me, about me, for me, and because of me, right?
Yay!
And so it had to be 100% what I am and what I love. Well, I had 2 dogs at the time, Shiner and Zach. Shiner was this little husky Lhasa Apso mix, and he had these spots on him in those places, about those same shapes.
Okay.
Then I had this big dog who was fat. The Shiner wasn't fat, but the big dog was fat, and he was a retriever mix. So it's the fat is from the fat dog, and the spots are from the little Lhasa Husky mix.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Well, I love it.
Nobody would really forget who she is.
They don't. But here's the other thing. Yes, dogs are what I love, but let me tell you why. Because dogs are friendly. They are unconditional with their love.
Yes.
And they always are happy to see you. And you know what? That's what I wanted people to feel with me. I wanted people to always be happy when they see me, because generally I'm always smiling.
You know, I tease Chris because we have 2 pugs. And the 2 pugs get so excited when they see us. They whine, they whine and they
really
dance and they do all these fun little things. And I said, I'm not ever going to do that when I see you. I'm happy in my heart, but I'm not twisting myself into a pretzel. I'm not going to scream and whine when I see you.
Well, that's
but it
amazing.
just makes your heart happy. You have a happy heart, when they start doing their little dance.
And that explains the chicken when I get here.
That's Roger. He's the mascot.
Yeah.
Yes, we love Roger.
He just runs around. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah.
We have more.
You could have a little pug
Yes, you
dog with chicken feathers. That's your
could.
disruptor.
There we go.
That would
That
be a
would be
real
fun.
design, wouldn't it? Yeah.
As you can see, we can just totally pick your brain. I mean, you have so much knowledge, and you understand exactly, what needs
But
to
I'm
be
dying
done.
to ask a question.
Okay,
Because I
ask your
think God
question.
needs to know.
What?
Where are you originally from?
I'm from Texas.
All right.
I claim Austin as my home because that's where I grew up as an adult. But I am from a small town in East Texas. That's where I